Hello there. Today's topic needs no introduction.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thunderbirds are go.
Thunderbirds, the Gerry Anderson puppet show that became an international phenomenon. Debuting in the mid-1960s, this show would go on to spawn countless amounts of toys, books, and a superb reboot that launched on the show's 50th anniversary in 2015. But what was it about Thunderbirds that made it so massively popular? Well, to try and figure out, let's take a brief look at its history. The show was devised by the husband and wife duo of Gerry and Sylvia Anderson, whom by 1965 were renowned for their various puppet shows for television, or as Gerry dubbed it, Supermarionation. This kind of puppet show began with Four Feather Falls in 1960. It was followed up then by Supercar in 1961, Fireball XL5 in 1962, and Stingray in 1964, which was the first British programme to be made entirely in colour. By the time Stingray debuted, the Andersons were household names around the nation, but not just in the UK, but also in the US, where they had gained a foothold in the television market. Their fifth Supermarionation show was to be their biggest success.
On the TV screen, the program will be in black and white, but on parade for the first time ever on the cinema screen, you see in color an exclusive presentation of Thunderbirds, the space-age story of tomorrow.
The newly christened Thunderbirds made their debut on ITV on the 30th of September 1965. The show was an instant success. It boasted a memorable cast, incredible futuristic vehicles, and intense scenarios in which the members of International Rescue would race against time in order to save innocent lives. The first episode was Trapped in the Sky, which featured the Fireflash, a vehicle that would itself make further appearances throughout the series' run. This episode, as well as many others in the first season, were originally made to be 25 minutes in length, following the format of previous Supermarionation shows, but upon viewing Trapped in a premiere, overall boss and man in charge, Lou Grade, compared what he saw to a feature film, so he asked Anderson to double the length of every episode to 50 minutes. Thunderbirds is the only Supermarionation series to run at this length, giving it its more distinct filmic quality and feel. Of course, the stars of the show were the Thunderbird vehicles and the members of International Rescue. Thunderbird 1 is the team's main ship, and piloted by Scott Tracy. It's always the first to the danger zone to survey the situation and determine what equipment is needed. It also has a gun, because, why not? Thunderbird 2 is the heavy loader. Piloted by Virgil Tracy, this ship is often considered the most iconic of the fleet. Its primary function is to transport rescue equipment to the danger zone. It does this by acquiring one of 6 pods. These pods contain several vehicles such as the Mole, the Firefly, and even Thunderbird 4. Guess which pod that goes in. Thunderbird 3 is the space rocket. Piloted by Alan Tracy, this ship is the essential vehicle when it comes to rescues in space. And in 2065, apparently there is a lot of them. Thunderbird 3 is also able to dock with Thunderbird 5 to allow the changeover of International Rescue members who take turns in monitoring the station and communications. Thunderbird 4 is the team's submarine. Piloted by Gordon Tracy, this smaller ship is often released into the waters from Pod 4 of Thunderbird 2, its primary function being to aid in rescues at sea. Like Thunderbird 1, it also carries weapons, more so to blast away obstructions, but also to blast people away if necessary because, again, why not? Thunderbird 5 is the space station. Monitored most of the time by John Tracy, its main function is to intercept any communications to International Rescue, so that then it can relay them to Tracy Island so that the team can respond accordingly. This was always my favourite Thunderbird in terms of design. International Rescue also has its aides across the world, the favourite of them all, Lady Penelope. Elegant but dangerous, Penelope is always accompanied by Parker, her chauffeur. Their mode of transport is Fab 1, a custom Rolls-Royce with inbuilt weaponry amongst other features. The duo were arguably the most popular characters in the show, and their banter hasn't dated at all in over 50 years. and of course bringing Parker's iconic catchphrase,
"Yes, milady."
The organisation also had its engineer Brains, who was responsible for building and developing many of the Thunderbird craft, as well as other inventions such as his robot Brayman. Jeff Tracy is the founder of International Rescue, and as such leads it effectively, doing his best to save lives but also keep the identities of those in the team a secret to the world's military and press. Though the main obstacle faced by the team is the Hood, the sworn enemy of International Rescue. In many episodes we see him try to acquire the plans of Thunderbirds or steal International Rescue secrets, but of course he is foiled every time.
My pictures, they are ruined. Someone will pay for this. International Rescue haven't heard the last of me.
By the time the second series launched in 1966, Thunderbirds as a brand was unstoppable. Anything you wanted, it probably had a Thunderbirds logo on it. Even your lollies.
Emergency! We're under attack!
Fire news Zoom. Zoom, the Big Eyes lolly with 3 flavor stages. And exciting new picture cards, free. Zoom.
But during production of the second series, the team behind the show were also producing their first Supermarionation feature film. This would result in Thunderbirds Are Go, essentially a movie-length episode of the show. It was shot in CinemaScope widescreen, and presented viewers in the UK the first chance to watch the show in colour, as colour television wouldn't debut until 1967 on BBC Two, before becoming standard across all television channels in the UK in 1969. Despite a very positive and promising premiere in London in December of 1966, the film didn't make nearly as much money as the Andersons or the studio had hoped. No one really knows why the film didn't take off, but it had devastating consequences. In terms of the TV show, Lew Grade was having a hard time justifying the costs of making it. Costing around $1 million, which was really expensive back then, either Grade secured a deal with an American broadcaster, or the show would have to cease production. Despite being offered around $7 million in a deal with NBC, Grade turned it down. As a result, Thunderbirds ceased production after only 6 episodes of the second season were completed, the final episode airing being a Christmas special, Give or Take $1 Million, which aired on Christmas Day 1966. Jerry Anderson's team then moved on to creating a new series that would aim to match up to Thunderbirds' legendary success, and that show would be Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons. However, in its main heyday of the 1960s, there was one last hurrah for the series. This was the movie Thunderbirds 6. But where did this come from if the show was cancelled? Well, after the poor reception of Thunderbirds Are Go, in some kind of confusion the studio commissioned a sequel, perhaps assuming the failure of the first film was just some sort of strand of bad luck. Debuting in the summer of 1968, Thunderbirds 6 unfortunately still did poorly at the box office. Even triple bills against James Bond couldn't save it. This would be the last filmic effort on Thunderbirds in the 1960s. Throughout the 1970s and 80s, the series would be periodically repeated, as its appeal didn't seem to wane as the years went by. But the big revival would come in the early 1990s. The BBC acquired the TV rights to Thunderbirds, re-airing the show on BBC Two.
Thunderbirds are back. 3 days to go.
This proved extremely popular to those who remembered the show from the 1960s, but also appealed to new viewers. As a result, Thunderbirds became a national phenomenon once again. From then until the early 2000s, merchandise boomed. The Tracy Island playset was consistently out of stock and caused havoc for parents everywhere. Sorry, Mum and Dad. And most exciting of all, it was announced that a live-action movie of Thunderbirds would hit our screens in 2004. Was I excited? Of course I was! So myself, as an excited 8-year-old, I went to see the movie. Oh my. It was bad. Like, really bad. I'm not going to go into this too much because I'll just rant and rant, but a few things. The redesigns of the ships were awful, the comedy was awful, the sin of wasting good actors such as Ben Kingsley, and the biggest offence, in my opinion, is that it only focused on Alan. That's a major misfire, because the whole point of the show, it was a show about a team.
Time to thunderize.
Let's face it, the only good thing that came after the movie, Thunderbirds kind of fell dormant again. It would be easy to say that the movie killed the movement, and yeah, it kinda did. However, as the 50th anniversary approached, we got some very good news.
5, 4, 3,
2, 1. The show was returning to screens as Thunderbirds Are Go. Debuting once more on ITV on the 4th of April 2015, this is exactly the kind of show we wanted. The format was similar, but updated to appeal to the modern generation of viewers. The characters were similar, but again, updated to appeal and reflect diversity of the human race we live in today. The ships were almost the same compared to the original, except Thunderbird 5, I don't know what that is. It uses a combination of CGI and extensive model work to keep in spirit with the original 60s show. As of this video, the series is halfway through its second season, with a third season having already been commissioned. Long may it continue and keep pushing those boundaries. So that's pretty much where we were up to with the Thunderbirds series. From an extremely successful beginning in 1965 to the gloriously faithful 2015 update, this is a show that refuses to die down or go away. The original puppet show is just as popular and appealing now as it ever was 50 years ago. But in whatever form this continues, it undoubtedly will be the one show from Gerry Anderson's legacy that will truly never be forgotten. All I can say about this show is it's FAB. Thank you for listening, and take care.